Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Tea with Sue. It's great to be back. Another week has just flown by, and each week I get excited about meeting you again and having a chat about all manner of things. Today, I thought it would be really fun to look at the body from the perspective of the body being a communication device. Now, for lots of years, I thought, well, my body is something that houses my soul, my spirit, it's my vehicle to get around. And that is true. It is my vehicle to get from place to place and do things and take action on thoughts that I have or emotions that I'm feeling or whatever. So it is a vehicle. But what about if it's even more than that? That it's a communication device that tells us in infinite and very finite detail what's going on with us from second to second, moment to moment throughout our lifetimes. So the easiest example, of course, is thinking of when we're kids. So when we're exploring the world as newborn babies or getting older into toddlerhood, then then all of what is in front of us comes from the senses that are inside of us. Our senses detect whether our bodies feel cold, whether they feel hot, whether we're tired, whether we're energized, all of those kinds of things. The body is so magnificently wired to give us information about what's going on in our world. And of course, because we have a brain that neurologically they know has a gene pool to draw from memories and experiences from out of our past and from our ancestors' past. They talk about the reptilian brain, right? That knows intimately how to keep us safe. It knows so clearly and so quickly how to send signals to us that keep us safe. And so the body is communicating with us all the time. Now, the trick, of course, is whether or not we're paying attention to what the bodies communicate. Well, when we're little, if we're hungry, our body tells us you need food. And if we don't have the verbal ability as yet, then what do? We let out a yelp or a cry or something happens to communicate to a person who has the ability to solve that problem that all is not well. I'm hungry. And so the body speaks loud and clear. I'm thirsty. I need to be changed. Whatever that is as a body and the desires when we're really little, then of course we have the communication ability to get that out. But before anything comes out of our mouths, then the body signals from somewhere. So from the stomach, or if a child falls down, then and scrapes their knee, then the pain that comes from that particular area, of course, signals, okay, all is not well. And so it's not only a signal for help from maybe somebody from outside, but it's also a bodily signal inside for the body to go to work to fix whatever's wrong. So if the knee is bleeding, then okay, the body's defenses or immune system or all of the healing abilities that it has go right to work to stop the flow of blood and then work to repair the damage. So if you haven't blessed your body lately, today would be a good time to do exactly that. Wow. I'm fond of saying, well, where are you going to live when your body gives out on you? Well, good question. So we have this fabulously intimate connection to our bodies, because without the body to house who we are, then we're not going to go very far. We're just spirit and essence and so on. And then living on planet Earth, we need more than that, right? So here's where it gets interesting, though. As we grow, we are taught in a variety of ways to start ignoring the needs of the body. I don't know if you grew up in a school system where I did, but it was critically important that if the teacher said, sit still and do your work, you sat still. No matter if you were the most fidgety kid in the world. I realized that I'm very fidgety. I'm often, this body is not that comfortable in certain kinds of chairs, and to sit for long periods of time is hard for me. So, but I was schooled from really young to sit still. And no wonder, as I'm the age I am, that I feel discomfort. So as an example, I've had some pain in my left hip for several days, and it's nagging at me. And so something is not quite right. Now it's up to me as the inside part of me that's not the body to figure out, well, what is it? So is it because I've been sitting at my computer for too long? Probably. Am I getting enough exercise to stretch those muscles and give the body some ease? Not maybe as much as I could. So, because we're trained to not think that there's any feelings or thoughts that could impede the body or cause it to send signals to us that aren't good. But they have found that from a research perspective, when we feel emotional or thinking stress, if we're stressed in any way or feeling any kind of what we label, I guess, as a negative emotion, then it translates through the body and the body becomes uneasy. So there's a great book that I refer to often when my body is going through its various gyrations and sending signals to me that I eventually choose to pay attention to. And so I looked up hip and, okay, what is going on when it comes to the hips? And one of the emotional references was the fear of moving forward. And I'm going, oh, isn't that interesting? So is that true for me? So I had a good think about that and realized that, yes, that I had some fear around moving forward. So then it was to acknowledge the signal that the body gave me that all is not well, something's going on here, and it's good to take a look at it. It's good to address it, to see, well, what is it exactly that's going on? So and for me, all of the above were true. I spend too much time sitting. I don't get enough exercise. I don't stretch enough. And I had this discomfort around moving forward, moving in the direction that I want to go. So, and it's interesting when we talk about our comfort zone, right? And everybody says, oh, well, you got to get out of your comfort zone in order to move forward, which I don't disagree with. That's very true. It's just that our comfort zone is pretty darn comfortable, right? And but here's the but, while we're thinking that, oh yeah, I think I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone because it's too scary out there. There's dragons out there and I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. But the body will nag at us until we either do something about it or eventually it it looks for another path to let us know that all is not well. So, for example, we could just ignore the pain and take a pill. Say, "Oh, I'm feeling pain. Well, where are those pain pills?" And we go do that. Or I'll put a hot compress on it, and temporarily that might help and ease, and or I'll get busy doing something and forget about it. And but if it's important enough to be paid attention to, then the body will persist. So I love this definition that I got years ago. I don't even remember how I got it, but it was about our comfort zone, right? And about being in a rut. So a comfort zone is like a rut, right? We're just moving along. Well, this definition was, a rut is simply a grave with the ends kicked out. And I'm going, really? And that visual hit me. So, I mean, we have a choice. We can stay in our rut, and there's not much movement going on in there. And so at some point it might start to feel like a grave, and we got to climb over the edges and say, okay, what's going on out here, and what more could we be doing? How do we want to move forward? So our bodies are well wired to let us know that there's something not right, something that needs to be addressed in some way. And of course, if we want to be at ease in our bodies, if we want our bodies to continue cooperating and moving forward in a very positive direction, then we need to pay attention. We cannot ignore signs and symptoms for long periods of time. Well, we can, and everybody does. I certainly have. I ignored symptoms of bodily distress for so many years, and then I couldn't ignore it anymore because I got a cancer diagnosis. So that was the ultimate. But no, I'm fine. No, I'll deal with it this way, or I don't want to go to the doctor. Blah 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 blah. And well, the consequences were right there to face me. So believe me, I pay a lot more attention to the signals I get from the body now than I ever used to. And it's not that I'm a slave to it. It's not, but I've come into a better conversation, I guess, with my body in honoring the message that it sends to me, and then exploring it and saying, okay, what's going on here? And maybe what's really going on here, what's going on below the surface that I can't actually see and I can't put my finger on as such, but there's something there. So the actual physical outward signs, like, oh, I have a pain in my elbow, or that's very obvious to us. That's one thing to think about. But the other part is, what about that sensation you get in your gut, or it feels as if maybe your heart is sore, and you know that physically you're okay, but there's something not quite right. There's an uneasiness, a dis-ease in what's going on. And often it's connected to some kind of fear. And it's expressing itself in the body, and maybe doesn't know exactly how to portray it. It's just, well, I've had this, my food doesn't seem to be digesting as well these days. Well, it could be that there's something upsetting your stomach. So we have these language phrases, oh, I had a gut reaction to what that person just said, or I get this gut feeling that this would be a better way to go, then that would be a better way to go. Well, over time, we just accept those as expressions, but they're not just expressions. There's a reason for that. And when we say, oh, that just broke my heart, well, there was probably a little piece that was broken because of that incident, or we have a failed romance, and or a romance ends, and we feel that pain in our hearts, or we see someone else suffering and we feel their suffering, and it hits us right in our heart space. Well, communication, right? It's that communication that sends that signal, and then we say, well, what are we going to do about that? When I used to teach public speaking, I used to say, look, energy is energy, and it's up to you to decide what that energy means to you. Well, for most people standing in front of an audience, the energy is fear and terror, like, don't make me do that. One of the top 10 fears that people have is the fear of speaking in public. It kind of feels like you're going to die when you're standing up there if the fear is really, really strong. And I used to say, look, one direction for the fear, or for the energy itself, is fear, and causes you to bolt for the door. If you labeled, however, and decided that the fear was excitement, that the butterflies in the tummy were excitement, or the shaking knees, or the reverberations you feel through your whole body was excitement, then that causes an entirely different action than you're looking forward to. So for me now, I look at being in front of an audience, or being on camera, as the quotes nerves or nervousness that I feel is excitement. It's, oh, I want to do a good job. I want to say the right things. I want to help people with the thoughts and ideas that I'm expressing to them. And so it's a transformation. Probably years ago, it was fear. And I, oh, don't make me say anything. I don't want to, I don't want the spotlight to be on me. I kind of did, but it meant I had to let the spotlight be on me. And so there was some fear about that, like, oh, what if that's not safe? And I worked my way through that because I wanted more to share who I was and what I knew, and I wanted to help people more than I wanted to hide in the dark and not be visible. So it always feels maybe a little risky, but you get out of that comfort zone and honor your body and soothe it. So I'd say, okay, body, this is what we're doing. I know my heart's pounding, or my stomach feels like it's churning, or my knees feel like they're knocking, and we're safe. We're going to do this anyway. And so it's like having that dialogue. It's not saying to the body, oh, just be quiet. I'm not paying attention to you right now. It's to say, we're going to be fine. We're in this together, and it's going to be good. So just be okay. Help me out here, and we'll get through this. And of course we do. And so that's the whole thing in having a dialogue with your body and getting to know it more intimately. We've been taught to power through things like, okay, I don't care if you're stressed. I don't care if all your kids are sick, and this is like corporate America, corporate Canada, whatever, saying, just nose to the grindstone, shoulder to the wheel, and just keep on no matter what. Well, the statistics on the number of people on stress leave, the number of people with diseases, including cancer, because people have not honored this vessel, this communication device that we have to make sure that all was right. And that's what we want to get back to, is we want to get back to, if we haven't been paying attention to our bodies, then it's high time, and the sooner the better. The sooner you honor the fact that it will tell you if things are not going well. It'll also tell you if you're feeling joy and delight. And my granddaughters were over the other day, they're 2.5, and they laughed and giggled. I haven't laughed and giggled so much as I did in that really less than 24 hours that they were with me. I mean, it was marvelous. I'd kind of forgotten the joy that comes from being a kid, but their childlike innocence and delight in the world around them just re-triggered mine. And I just felt renewed and revitalized and refreshed once they went home. I was also exhausted because we have quite an age difference and Nana doesn't function quite as well and recover quite as quickly as I used to. So, but that's all right. I took a day off from the world on Monday and got my energy back. And of course, every time I thought about them, the memories of that fun and that laughter and that joy was so heightened that I just, it was great. And so now I have those lovely memories to draw on when they're not close by. So what are you going to do over this next week to honor your body when it tells you, feed me, give me liquid, take a nap, you're tired, go for a walk, get some sunshine, phone a friend, whatever feelings that come up for you, honor them and start that conversation so that you can be more in sync with your body, and it in turn will work, as it always has, extremely hard for you. It will take you to whatever next level is going to be important for you to thrive, not survive. We don't want just grass survival or below ground survival. We want to thrive. Well, it's not possible to do that without our body's full cooperation. Well, we have to cooperate in our hearts and our minds and our emotions with our bodies and listen to them when they're talking to us. So have fun with that. I know you can communicate much better with your body because you are that magnificent. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. If you want more Tea with Sue, or maybe you've missed some of the recordings we've already done, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sue Paulson. You can also visit my website, www.yourmagnificencementor.com. There's a link there to my app, The Magnificence Mentor, which is a free download and has all kinds of cool stuff on it that you can listen to and enjoy. In the meantime, have a glorious Friday and the best weekend ever. Bye for now.